Hello, good morning.
It is too early.
It is.
Welcome to the first, best, and only morning show in existence. I'm Anthony Carboni.
And I'm Saige Ryan.
And we are the coolest emo kids you know.
That's true. We went to an emo brunch yesterday.
We went to an emo brunch. Let me tell you something. The world currently is back open.
Yeah.
And all of these like little pop-up experience companies are definitely taking advantage of the fact that we have not done anything in 2 years.
Absolutely.
The number of just things that are around and charging a ticket price right now,
skyrocketed.
Let me tell you something. If you are in the industry of printing tickets for events, now you are in the money. I had a lovely time at emo brunch.
I had a lovely time as well.
We went with some lovely friends. Great time. Mediocre emo playlist.
Yeah, okay, so look, as the resident emo kid in most circles, like deeply, truly emo kid, the majority of what I listen to even at 26 years old is emo music. I get it.
Mommy bim.
You want to flex that you know music other than like Fall Out Boy and Paramore and like the bands that are considered the most accessible points of emo music. Because
part of any music-based social scene is, look how much I know about this music.
Sure. However, when you're throwing an emo brunch, play the hits. Quite simply, everyone wants to sing the Black Parade together.
Listen.
Everybody wants to misery business. I would like to sugar, we are going down swinging.
That's all we want. You know, you can play, listen, it's a 2-hour brunch.
Right.
You have enough time to play your deep cuts.
But hit me with I'm just a kid.
Please.
Right?
You gotta do the big boys. Every once in a while. Imagine you are at an emo brunch is not like an emo night dance party. An emo brunch is like an emo wedding or an emo bar mitzvah. You have got to play the hits. You've got 2 hours. Everybody's got to get in and out, play the hits.
Yeah.
And what's wild is, so the food I thought was better than most of these themed brunches.
It was really good. Did you think we'd be opening with a brunch review today?
We're reviewing brunches. Because that's the other thing is like, yeah, you're throwing an emo thing. But most of the people there aren't scenesters anymore. They're
totally different.
They're aging aren't emo kids anymore. They're aging millennials. They're geriatric millennials, like myself, and they just play the hits.
Just play the hits.
The food, I will say the naming of the food was a little lazy.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Some of it was good.
I think that was their best. I think that there was one that was weak. I ordered the pancakes at the disco. I thought that was pretty clever.
Pancakes at the disco was clever.
A Fallout burger? Excellent.
But they didn't call it Fallout Burger.
What was it?
I called it Fallout Burger on my story to make it more clever. It was the Fallout Boy breakfast burger.
All right, that was a little weak. Okay.
And then when I said black rye parade, they just called it the Black Parade avocado toast. They were not naming things well.
All right, well, I'm back out. They had one that was called sausage plan, and that upset me greatly.
Yeah, that was not great. The drinks were a little more cleverly named. I had the sugar we're going down drinking. And then everything's all right was another one that I had, which was fine. And then they had a Coheed. What was it? It was
there was a Coheed and Cambria.
Coffee and Cambria, which was an espresso martini, which I did not have, but I thought that was kind of funny. But here's what I'll say. These events charge a premium.
Yes.
This was an expensive brunch.
It was an expensive brunch, especially for me who doesn't drink.
Yeah.
You pay to like get mimosas and shit, no matter what. And I said, I would just like a pancake and a Coke, please.
I know. So it was you and Christina Ariel, who is like 5-6 months pregnant. She's drinking Shirley Temples, literally Shirley Temples.
Yeah.
Saige is having her morning Cokes.
Singular.
Her breakfast Coke, which is not the breakfast Coke you would think you would get at an emo brunch.
Mind
it's
you,
the Coca-Cola.
It's 1 p.m.
Yeah.
It's 1 p.m. It's not that early.
You can have a Coke at any time you want.
Yes, I can.
So I will say this. I don't think it was worth the money that we paid.
Okay.
Because it was also like, we waited like 30 minutes for silverware. It was one of those things where they like had no idea how they were running it.
But I had a good time.
I had a great time. But I think, it was just $50.
That was very nice. And if you by any chance watched it, it's too early. Hi, we love you.
It was very nice. Everybody was very nice. But I will say, going back to the original thesis statement, people are really taking advantage of the fact that we haven't done anything in 2 years.
Very true.
Yeah,
absolutely. But let's get into a little bit of news, because honestly, it's not a super busy games day. Games is currently not taking advantage of that fact.
No, we just had PAX last week.
Yeah.
And there weren't tons of new things dropping at PAX.
There really wasn't much dropping at PAX. I was surprised.
Especially PAX East. PAX East is, of course, previously known as PAX Prime, so it is the big one, the main one. Or not PAX. No. It was PAX East. No, so it was Boston, right? Where was it? Was anybody at PAX?
PAX East was this week.
PAX East was this week. Okay, so it was Boston. So it wasn't the biggest show. But they still normally have some announcements there. There was a lot of people got to get hands-on with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I saw that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
But we're in a bit of a slow period. It's a more businessy period than anything else.
I can see that. I can see it's a more businessy period before the storm of games that actually release.
This is traditionally when people were prepping for E3, and because E3 was just canceled, I would imagine people are still on that sort of timeline.
Yeah.
So we're going to see a lot of stuff coming up in the next month and a half. But there's other stuff going on. I want to start off with some PC news.
Yeah, we got a couple of PC pieces of news.
First of all, if you are an Uncharted fan and you've been waiting for the PC releases, we just got a release date. Or at least it looks like we have.
And it looks like that release date is June 20th of this year.
That's pretty nice. So, Uncharted Legacy of Thieves Collection. Collection is an interesting term for something that is two. It's Uncharted 4 and Lost Legacy.
Mm-hmm. And that's not even two full games, because Lost Legacy is just an expansion of Uncharted 4.
Right. So it's they're using collection loosely.
Very loosely.
Very loosely. But I'm excited to see this. The God of War PC version and the Horizon PC versions were incredibly well done.
Yeah.
Of course, PlayStation acquired Bluepoint recently, and they have a couple other studios that they use in-house to make these PC conversions and ports. And I think they've been doing a really wonderful job. They said that this year is the year that they're really going to be pushing PlayStation more towards PC.
Yeah. Which I look forward to.
Yeah. I can't... Look. Uncharted 4 was a beautiful game.
It
was a absolutely stunning looking game. And so seeing it on the PC is going to be, I think, pretty wild. And I'm looking forward to that. Will I be purchasing it? No, I already own it.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to seeing other people play it on their PC. Sometimes I look at people playing God of War on the PC and I'm like, damn, that looks nice. I should buy that. And I go, God damn it, I got God of War right here.
Yeah, the God of War at home.
We've got the God of War, but it's not even that much worse.
No,
because I have a PS5.
Right.
And mine's plugged in. Which is the toughest step. It's the toughest step that God only gives to his strongest soldiers.
It's been a year, this joke.
It's been a year of an unplugged PS5.
Feels like you're really into my PS5. In other PC news, Borderlands 3 is finally getting full crossplay with PC. It's obviously been available on PC, but they said, you can't play with PC people though.
And we know who was saying that. It was obviously Sony.
Yeah, I mean, Gearbox literally said last year that full crossplay was ready, but they were told to pull the feature from the PlayStation consoles.
Sony, notoriously guarded when it comes to crossplay and cross-platform play. Obviously, they made headlines as being the first to really do console and PC cross-platform when they came out with the orange box for the PlayStation 3. That was a huge deal. But of course, the PlayStation 3 was not doing well at that point. Now that the PlayStation has been basically owning for a generation and a half,
yeah,
They're like, no, you come play in our playground or you don't play at all.
Which was bold of them, considering no one could get into the playground for a while. But, you know. Tiny Tina's recently released and had immediate crossplay.
Yep.
So I think a lot of us were probably suspecting that this would be coming sometime soon. It's very interesting, like, what they're precious about and what they're not. I don't know if it's a timing thing of when Tiny Tina released versus Borderlands or what.
I think so. I think Sony's loosened up a little bit over the last year. You know, especially now that they're diving into PC, they probably have future plans. They want PC games to be that they release to be cross-compatible, and they don't want people like Steam or or Epic or whoever going like, no, we're gonna have to pull that from your game.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to make sure you can't release on our platform.
They're trying real hard to play nice, and I do appreciate that. I also think that they might have the suspicion that after people play Tiny Tina's, they might have that like a little bit of a Borderlands kicking in and be like, maybe I'll jump into some multiplayer of Borderlands 3.
Do you know, I still haven't touched Borderlands 3.
It's a fun game.
I'm sure it is.
I'm a fan.
I'm sure it is. It's one of those ones where it's like, it's just in the backlog, baby.
Yeah, of course.
It's in the backlog.
I understand having a very long backlog because same. And this is a game that just got added to my personal, the front of my game log. As I literally, as soon as I put this down for the show, I went and played it last night. This game is called The Man.
Not The Man.
This is The Man. This is a game that is available to play for free in your browser on itch.io. And let me tell you about The Man. In The Man, you are literally a serial killer with no bones. You start out... Anthony's first time seeing it. So you are using your...
Jiggle. It falls.
I like the way you wiggle. For sure. In this, you're using like essentially W to control your head. You're using Q and E to control like your shoulders for the most part because you can't really operate your hands. And you're using A and D to control your useless, like completely, like just the buttons don't do anything legs.
I love it.
And you are the serial killer, the Man, and you are trying to get across a house, get a weapon, and kill the person sleeping in their bed before they wake up. There's a fun little twist in it. It's a very, very short game. There's also a fun little ending screen if you lose.
The Man. Oh my gosh. You can get it. You can get it, you creepy monster. Go ahead. I believe in you. Get the knife, bud.
Anthony.
Yeah.
Is my NDI working?
I don't know.
No.
Let's find out together as a family.
It's not. Give it just a second.
Okay.
Now, it should. There we go.
The man's in there somewhere.
Where's the man?
Where's the man?
Where is the man? You just have to... This one took me a while, but you have to spam to get out from under the bed.
Oh, I saw it. I saw a little something, I think.
Did you see a little something?
I think I saw a little something.
Hey, Ronan! How dare you? You didn't have to do that.
Knock it off. How dare you? Ronan, one of our sweet mods. Everybody, please give a bless up to the mods in chat. Please.
Can we have a little bless up for the mods?
Can we get a little bless up for the mods?
We don't really have a bless up emote.
Ronan, wait, don't leave.
Don't leave!
Oh, he'd be wiggling under there. We'll check back in with the man in a moment. We'll check We'll check back in with the man throughout the show.
Is it not working? Oh, God. That's us talking. My greatest nightmare.
Gross.
Hearing my own voice.
In other PC news, arguably as big as the man, but maybe not. We have an update. The man is free. Oh, y'all aren't hearing this because we don't have the Saige's laptop audio, but...
He makes squishy noises. No, I don't think that works. You get our mics, remember?
Oh, yeah. You get our mics.
Anyways, this is the very excellent game.
Oh, yeah. This is worth playing. This is on itch, and it's just a browser game, and the developer said, I came up with a joke about a boneless serial killer on Reddit, and I made it into a game. Please enjoy. And so we did.
Genuinely, for just a little plot twist, I can't recommend it enough.
I'm going to have to play that. In other PC news, Halo Infinite.
Yeah.
It is extant.
Uh-huh.
It does be.
Mm-hmm.
Can do, does exist.
Yes.
In parts. Some Halo Infinite, not as extant as other parts of Halo Infinite.
Part of the Halo that you want is out there.
Part of the Halo is out there, if you really believe. The other part of the Halo is apparently now officially coming in August.
Man.
And then the Forge should be available in beta form in September. So co-op, which we've all been like, where's the co-op?
Mm-hmm.
August. That's what they're saying now.
Halo Infinite loves a blog post, and they posted their April 2022 blog post, which they announced this in, with the roadmap of what was supposed to be coming up. They also addressed some of the issues negatively impacting player experience. They talked about completing Season 2 and delivering its promises.
Now, this is after last week when when there was a lot of news about kind of players not being super happy because they had alluded, Bungie or 343 had alluded to the fact that, hey man, this co-op isn't coming when we told you it was coming. We're sorry and we're doing our best. I mean, it makes sense. Like, didn't the co-op director leave like 3 months ago? The ODST guy? Yeah. So it makes sense that they got a little held up. A lot of people at the top leaving. This I think now. Halo by no means has by no means had a poor launch. Has by no means had what you would call a rocky start, particularly in the games as a service space. It's doing very well.
Yeah.
It's just not doing as well as everybody had expected a Halo to do. But I do think that when we, in a few years, after all is said and done, we are going to get some interesting stories about the development of this game behind the scenes. I think a lot of crazy stuff has been going on. Skywalker9982 says, Halo Infinite, as in it's going to take forever to come out. And of course, Ronan says, hey, 343, it's okay if you're not working on Forge. Just tell us.
Yeah, you can tell us.
It's okay.
If you're not going to make the Forge, all you have to do is say so.
You don't have to make the Forge. Just say you don't want to make the Forge.
Look, you don't have to keep doing this thing. We're working on Forge. Hey, between you and me, are you working on Forge?
Hey, you don't have to. Listen, when we ask you how those pottery classes are going, you don't have to tell us that they're going fine to impress us. If you went to one pottery class and you decided it wasn't for you,
we have no judgment.
We have no judgment. If you don't want to make Forge, if you started making Forge and you were like,
maybe Forge isn't for me.
Forge isn't for me.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about painting.
And you know what? Go smash a piano.
Go smash a piano about it. How many pianos do you think they smashed for the soundtrack and the
just the one for the video?
Just the one for the video.
I think they only did the one for the video because they were like, guys, we got to show something.
I think
what have we got laying around?
Marketing was like spectacle.
Piano.
There's
one sitting in the like warehouse there.
Saige.
Yes.
You have a sneaky little smile on your face, Saige.
I do, because I think this is very, very cute. If you haven't played through Elden Ring yet, maybe aesthetically it isn't for you. Maybe the gameplay style is simply not for you, but you're having a little bit of FOMO about everybody else playing an Elden Ring.
Yeah, that's fair.
Maybe this is the version for you. A fan is working on an Elden Ring demake for the Game Boy.
Ooh, I like that. You know we like that.
We love a demake in this house. Here's a little animated one that was posted on r/Elden Ring by Shin.
Ooh, and it's gonna work on real hardware. Ooh.
Pretty fucking cool, right?
I love this.
And like, it looks phenomenal. Like, this is a well-made demake.
Yeah. Apparently Shin's streaming the entire development process on their Twitch channel, which I think is fascinating. Does it say in the article, I haven't seen, does it say what tools they're using?
I don't know if it does.
Because I wonder if this is a Game Boy. This looks like it could be a Game Boy Studio thing. Yes, they're using Game Boy Studio 3.0. If you're not familiar with Game Boy Studio, this is a free set of tools that can be as easy as sort of drag and drop, plug and play, make your own top-down game.
Fun.
But does allow you to use scripting to add some additional features. You can tell that probably the dodge roll is something that they added in.
That makes sense.
But it's a really wonderful little development platform, and you can release games for the actual Game Boy for it. They will run on real hardware, and I love that.
I think that's genuinely very cool.
And if you have an analog Pocket, they play Pocket files from Game Boy Studio natively.
Wow.
So you can use your Game Boy Pocket as like a little dev console as you're doing. It's lovely. I love the homebrew community. I love this stuff.
I do too. I think this is really, really fun. I appreciate someone designating this amount of time to it, and I hope that their Twitch stream does very well because of this. Because like obviously you don't get paid for this kind of work.
Let us know if this is the sort of thing you're into, because I've got a list of homebrew. We both have homebrew console games that we really love that we could go through for y'all. That are people are doing. There's like a Game Boy horror community that is
strong.
Because it's got to go. Because the Game Boy is so limited, it has to go on strength of story and concept.
Yeah.
And writing. And a lot of these Game Boy games are creepy.
Real spooky.
Too spook for me. Please.
Perfectly spooky. Shall we get to some business?
It's a business heavy day. Now, as everybody says in the live studio audience, business is downer.
Yeah. It's actually it's a little bit of a mix. I'm not going to say it's all good news, but we've got a couple. There's some
bad, there's some good. We're gonna try not to get too ranty, because I'll tell you what, I need to be chill today, man.
You were so aggressive in the Instagram story.
I know. I came out hot. I don't know why I came out hot this morning.
Okay, well, let's start with some good news. And this is some good news coming out of GOG and potentially CD Projekt Red, which is very exciting. So, recently, GOG announced that they were going to be offering menstrual leave to their employees that menstruate. This is a huge fucking deal and something that very, very few companies offer. And this is to deal with menstrual pains and the general side effects associated with it. They said that they expect that it will only actually average in each employee that menstruates taking off 1 day per quarter.
Probably.
Most likely. On average, right? So you might take off 2 for one and none for the next, right?
Yeah. Look, there were studies that came out recently. Comparative pain is hard. It's hard to compare physical pain because it happens within an individual's body, but there are ways that they measure it. And recent studies did show that menstrual pain for a lot of women is similar to the pain of a heart attack. A constant 3 to 4 day heart attack.
Yeah, and they ask people to just come to work anyways.
And what's funny is, like, a lot of people that menstruate did not know that. Because y'all have been told just to, like...
You haven't also had a heart attack.
Yeah, you haven't also had a heart attack, and you've been told just to, like, this is something that happens in fucking grin and bear it.
Yes.
I think this is really wonderful. I think this is one of these things that we're seeing, not just because the world is moving forward, but also because of the last 2 years. People are beginning to understand...
Yeah, the differences in comfort of working from home, for instance, and the ability to care for yourself when you're in pain when you're at home. Obviously, a lot of people with chronic conditions have also experienced the massive difference after being asked to come into a full-time office as opposed to the actual accommodation that they can have for themselves at home.
Yeah.
So this is a big fucking deal. Now, this is already happening at GOG. That's great. Now, they are a subsidiary of CD Projekt Red, which is very, very interesting. So, following that announcement, PC Gamer reached out to CD Projekt Red, and they were like, hey, you're a much larger company. You have 1,100 employees. Do you plan to do this on a larger scale? Obviously, that's a smaller team.
And CD Projekt Red said, hey, what we'll do is every day that you come in to work that you're...
While you feel like you're having a heart attack.
That you can prove that you're menstruating. You need a doctor's note and a note from your mom. You will get 1 menstrual token. And you're not allowed to take the day off. But for every menstrual token you put in the jar, CD Projekt Red will plant a tree.
So, in actuality, what they did reply...
In their new engine, not in the real world.
No.
In The Witcher 4.
Right. So, they said GOG is spearheading this initiative, and we're looking to further it for the whole CD project. Okay. It's not a commitment.
No.
They said they appreciate this. They are spearheading an initiative that they are looking into further.
They're looking into giving employees lunch. You know what I mean? So, and I don't mean giving them the lunch. I mean a break. They're looking into not crunching for 20 hours a day. They're looking into releasing finished games. There are a lot of things that CD Projekt Red is looking into right now.
Yeah, I wish they would look into this a little bit faster. It's actually simply not that difficult. It's a very easy thing to do and accommodate. And these are fully paid. They're just like sick days. That's it. They're like sick days because you're in immense amounts of pain.
Look, especially with work from home, but you shouldn't be expected to work from home when you're not feeling well. But especially now that we're all a lot more in tune with health and well-being and how we were already in tune with it, but companies are a lot more in tune with it after the last 2 years. And employees are more willing to ask for things that they need after the last 2 years. It would be nice to see this, and it would be nice to see this as opening the door to like, hey man, if you're a good employee and you get your work done and you're doing great and you just need a day, we're not going to say anything.
Yeah. And
why not just treat people like people? I need a day.
Here is your reminder though. When a company hires you and they say unlimited PTO, it's not an immediate no, because unlimited PTO should be a very good thing. There has to be something established that limited PTO is not better. But unlimited PTO, here's what it comes down to.
I'm shaking my head as it's not true. Not that it's not good.
The thing. Unlimited PTO should be how it is. That should absolutely be it. Because people find that most people want to do their jobs. You have a job to do, you don't want to fall behind on work. Most of the time, you're going to work.
It affects other people.
You don't need to work.
It affects your own performance.
Correct.
It affects the way other employees look at you.
And if you have a good workplace that people don't despise being in or are suffering through, they'll come to work, quite simply. We've proven that as capitalism somehow persists on the backs of labor. However, unlimited PTO is one of the greatest scams happening in America right now, where they say, it's unlimited, you take days off whenever you need them. And then when you go to take it off, they're like, well, you didn't really give us 2 weeks notice, and we kind of can just say no to it.
It's a bad time for you to leave.
PTO. You actually have a lot of work to do.
It's a bad time for you to leave, and you can take the time off, but we're going to need you to be on call if you're going to take the time off, and you're going to have to keep going to your meetings, and like that's the thing. When a company says you get 10 days a year, and this is all, by the way, in America. When a company gives you 10 days off, the nice thing about that is you can go, fuck you, I've got 10 days off this year and I haven't taken it yet. I'm taking it.
Exactly.
If you have unlimited PTO, you're like, well, I'd like to take a week here. They're like, it's a bad week, man. It's a bad week.
And companies will be like, well, then you're going to have to use your sick days. Even though you have unlimited PTO, they'll say, well, then you're going to have to use
These are double platinum days. And for double platinum days, it's like having a Disneyland annual pass. It's like, yeah, you can come any day you want except for these blackout dates. And you look and it's like every day you would conceivably want to go to Disney.
Unlimited PTO is definitely the lowest tier Disneyland pass.
It's the California resident pass.
Right. They're like, but we have work to do this week. Yeah, we have work to do every week.
Now, Isabits is saying their husband works at a company with unlimited PTO, and they're really good about it.
That's great.
And I will say that my sister also works at a company like that. And
those companies do exist.
They do exist, but a lot of companies, the second a company says unlimited PTO, that's what websites like Glassdoor are for. That's where you find somebody who works for the company and you go, hey, are they real about this?
Unlimited?
Are they real about this?
Yeah.
But that's the thing is like
strong reliant on a good company culture.
In an unlimited PTO company, people who suffer, like people who are menstruating, people who suffer from chronic pain, people who just have things where every once in a while they need a day off.
Yep.
It shouldn't be an issue.
That's actually most people. Some require more than others. But like, hey, there's mental health days. There's all of these things that you shouldn't be using sick pay for. Anyways, this is a great thing from GOG. I'm very, very happy to see this. In a statement, they said that we hope that this new policy fosters inclusiveness by accepting that there are biological differences in the workplace. By giving such additional days off, we acknowledge that these symptoms are real. I can only hope that this policy will serve as a sign that GOG is an inclusive company that respects individual needs of its employees and that everyone can feel both safe and appreciated here.
We love that. We love that.
Woo!
We think that is wonderful. And in other news about being wonderful to your employees, how about a company that's not?
Oh, okay. All right. We're doing this.
We're doing this. We're talking about Activision Blizzard, but this is good. Raven Software, the National Labor Relations Board, has said that QA workers at Raven can vote whether to unionize this month. It's happening.
Okay.
After walkouts, after being excluded from a new benefits and compensation package that the rest of Activision Blizzard QA is getting, after being made an example of. Everybody gets a raise but you now.
Yeah.
If you're not familiar, Raven has been staging walkouts, has been saying that they need better treatment for QA, has been trying to unionize. Activision Blizzard has been trying to smack them down at every turn, and gave all of their other QA firms, teams, outsourcers, everything, a very nice compensation package, base pay raises, all that stuff, and said, everybody gets it but Raven, because we can't mess with Raven's compensation package right now because they're trying to unionize, and that would be illegal.
Our hands are tied.
Which, number one, is untrue, and number two, is just a fucking transparent as hell union busting tactic.
Yes, it is.
Everybody gets an extra cookie except for you because you were bad. You made us mad, and now you don't get it. But...
because you asked for a cookie.
Yeah, because you asked for a cookie, and so no. This is very exciting. The 21-person QA unit, and that's important to remember. This is 21 people who were fighting the good fight for literally hundreds of QA employees at Activision Blizzard. They are eligible to unionize. The 21 people can vote. Can begin voting once ballots are mailed out on April 29th. They will be counted on May 23rd, and if a supermajority of yes is reached, the Game Workers Alliance Union will be official and can begin negotiations with Activision Blizzard.
We love to see it. We love a union.
Now, this has been a very tough fight for them. A dozen contractors at Raven were laid off. They began to strike. 34 of the workers attempted to unionize. There were more employees cut. They were supposed to recognize the union by January 25th. In writing, and they simply refused. They have been stonewalling all communication about it, because as long as they stonewall, it's not seen as denying a union.
Yep.
So they've been trying to do this for months and months, and then it's so fucked up. An Activision Blizzard spokesperson said whether Raven workers choose to unionize has nothing to do with salary increases everywhere else for Activision's QA workers. We simply cannot give them that raise right now. It's such bullshit.
Yep.
It's such bullshit.
Absolute bullshit.
So, Activision Blizzard had this to say: while we respect the NLRB process, we are disappointed that a decision that could significantly impact the future of our entire studio will be made by fewer than 10% of our employees. We believe a direct relationship with team members is the best path to achieving individual and company goals. Translation: only 10% of these people felt comfortable enough calling out this abusive relationship. If it was really an abusive relationship, why wouldn't they all say so? Why wouldn't they all say so? You better not say anything.
Maybe
you better not say anything.
A third of the team last time.
I swear, if you say something, there will be repercussions. Why wouldn't they say anything?
Fuck you, Activision Blizzard, on this day and every day going forward and forever. Best wishes to those fighting the good fight on the Raven team. Best wishes to the general employees that are trying to make a difference there. Fuck you overall to the company itself. And fuck union busting.
Fuck union busting.
Fuck union busting. That statement is union busting. Well, we believe that we could communicate directly with you. Well, we believe that when you communicate directly with your employees, you usually sexually harass them. So I think we should give that another go, huh?
Why do you
try another take?
Why do you need things in writing when we promise that we'll be good? We promise we'll be good. Really? You get everything in writing. You have an employee handbook this thick. You make me sign contracts and NDAs and codes of conduct. You tell me when I can and can't take my guaranteed days off. You tell me everything, and it's all in writing. So when I want these things, why are you like, it's so weird that you would want that in writing? And you're trying to speak for everybody. Does everybody want to be treated well? You don't even know.
Your bosses are not your friend. Unions are. Companies are not people.
Companies are not people. We will say that, of course, looming over all of this is the $69 billion acquisition of Activision Blizzard by Unky Phil and Microsoft. And Microsoft says that they are not going to interfere or communicate one way or the other about all of this unionization stuff.
They could have just come forward and said they were for the union.
They could have.
They could have. Just a reminder, they could have.
Now, there are some interesting things about that. If Microsoft comes forward and says that they are pro-union, and then
everyone in their company is not unionized is gonna.
Well, there's that, but there's also what does that do to investors, and what does that do to Activision Blizzard's stock price?
Which you cannot manipulate, I understand.
And not only can you not manipulate it, but Microsoft does not want that stock price to go down anymore now that the acquisition is set. So remember, when Microsoft says, we feel like they should handle this on their own, we're not going to interfere, what they're saying is...
we're paying what we're paying, please don't lower that stock price.
We're paying what we're paying, and please try to crush that union before we get in there.
He said... I don't know anything about unions.
Ew, unions? I don't know. Remember that statement he actually made?
What I'm saying, yeah.
He actually said that.
Yeah,
he was like, I don't know.
Much about
Everyone
unions.
at Microsoft is just pretty happy, so we've never had to deal with that. I don't know.
What is this South Park Cable episode hand gesture?
I don't know. We've never had to deal with it because everyone at Microsoft is so happy. So like, I don't know. You know, like when a 4-year-old is lying to you.
Yeah.
He's just like. I don't know. Like, I don't know much about labor or unions. I just know that everyone at Microsoft is happy and likes to just make games for funsies. I don't know.
In other companies that recently cut a large portion of employees, let's talk about Netflix.
Let's talk about Netflix.
Now, this is very, very interesting. We talked last week about the massive loss in subscribers, the stock plummeting. We talked about them cutting the majority of their animation division to move away from focusing on animated originals, which resulted in them cutting a lot of productions. But what's very interesting is it does seem like they're doubling down on games.
Yeah, this is wild. Of course, they just announced the Exploding Kittens game.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be some sort of. It's going to be some sort of game on Netflix or on Netflix platforms based on the card game.
Right. So their games are mobile games.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be based on Exploding Kittens. I'm sure it's just a digital version.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Heads Up has a digital version and Cards Against Humanity has a digital version.
Sure.
Yeah, of course th're doing that.
They're also
I don't see why they need Netflix for that, but sure.
They're also doing some interactive cartoons on Netflix around Exploding Kittens. They announced like little mini-sodes things. It's very interesting. And of course, they bought Night School.
Right.
They bought Night School Studios, and they're really looking to do some stuff internally with games, making a big investment in it, while they are slashing production budgets.
Very, very interesting. They said they are going to commit harder to games. A Washington Post article went a little more into detail with it, but I just can't imagine why right now. I don't know what it is that is making that promising for them. We can't see the numbers behind the scenes or what's happening, but I'm surprised.
I think games are probably more of a, this production stuff has all been, it's a loss leader, it's a loss leader, it's a loss leader, right? We're going to build this incredible portfolio of entertainment, and then keep slowly ratcheting up the price. And by the time, we will become profitable eventually just by being the number one entertainment destination. They're overspending, and we've got another story about that in a moment. But with games, you pay a budget, it's done.
Yep.
The game is out there, and you can start making profits. You can recoup your money within a couple years, which sounds like still not a short term, but for Netflix, that's a short term.
What's the difference between that and a movie then? It's the same thing.
Because they can't make any, they're still not making any money.
They're not. So we'll see. So what the doubling down is that they plan to release 50 games by the end of this year.
Now, they have said that these games are going to be, some of these games are going to be included with subscription. I wouldn't be surprised if they do something along the lines of Game Pass, where, sure, you can have this game on Game Pass, but the DLC, the microtransactions, all of that stuff is separate, right? So, yeah, you can have the base game of Streets of Rage 4, but if you want the DLC for Streets of Rage 4, you have to buy the game. And then it's very interesting. I'm curious to see how this service looks when it rolls out. I'm
also very curious. They do say that they plan to stick with mobile games for now. So you can expect all 50 of those games to be mobile games, but you can look at the IP that they own. We've talked about this for a while now. They have The Witcher. They have access to League of Legends IP. They have Castlevania. And building essentially mobile games within those IP is probably what we can expect.
Konami would love it if somebody else would just make the Castlevania games for
right.
them. With people like Riot and CD Projekt Red, I think what we're looking at is like you're saying, smaller mobile things that will be within the world. Is there already a mobile Gwent game for The Witcher? If there isn't, I could see that being something on Netflix. Maybe just kind of like tinier little adventure games in the world.
They're all going to be reskins of Bejeweled.
Oh my God.
It's going to be Stranger Things, Bejeweled. It's going to be The Witcher, Bejeweled. It's Castlevania, Bejeweled.
Like all those DS licensed games that were all just Bejeweled.
Yeah.
You remember they came out with like a Superman game for the DS. It was Bejeweled.
They're all going to be Bejeweled. Like mobile games, like Marvel has a bunch of Bejeweled.
Yeah. They did that really. I keep bringing this one up, and I know they've done other games since, but they had that nice little like top-down 16-bit Stranger Things game. That was very fun.
That was Stranger Things 1984 or something like that it was called.
It was neat. I liked it, and it wound up coming out not just on mobile, but also on Steam and on like Xbox Live and stuff like. So it's interesting. I think, especially when they're buying up studios like Night School, I'm very interested because Night School is very good at interactive narrative, right? And you would think that interactive narrative is a great way, is a great jump for Netflix to take, right?
Yeah.
If you like this show, I mean, you would imagine that if Telltale didn't go through all the stuff that it went through, Netflix would have wanted to just buy Telltale.
And like that would be the perfect approach, I think. A Telltale style game from Netflix is exactly what I would like to see. I would like to see them go beyond the things that they did for Black Mirror and Kimmy Schmidt with those interactive shows and take that step further into the like visual novel-esque play style, the choose your own adventure approach into games. I think that would be way cooler than Stranger Things Bejeweled.
If there's not a Bridgerton visual novel dating sim on the way,
come on.
Then what are they making a game studio for?
Come on. But if they do, because they're doing mobile games right now, it's going to be like that game Episodes.
God.
You know it's going to be like Episodes. It's going to be Bridgerton Episodes.
I mean, that's exactly what I want, though.
Kind of, right? Kind of.
But speaking of the other side of Netflix, now Netflix, as you know, is a company that will mail you a DVD. So if there's a movie that you want to see, you go onto their website and you request a specific DVD and they mail it to you and you can watch it.
Actually, Anthony, I just got a little bit of news in.
Yeah.
They're actually not doing that anymore.
How do people get the movies?
Yeah, I guess it's like a browser-based thing, or like an app.
Like Man Man?
It's kind of like Man Man. Yeah,
Netflix is Man Man?
Yeah, you go on and you click around like Man Man.
I don't think it's gonna work. And it turns out it's not working so much. I mean, we reported on. Excuse me, what's going on here?
Help me.
I don't like what Netflix is doing with the video games.
Their production costs are ballooning out of control.
They really are.
I mean, when people are like, how can they not be making money on this stuff?
Look at what they're spending.
Stranger Things Season 4 has a per episode cost of $30 million per episode, per hour-long episode. Now, I want to compare this to some things for you.
Yeah.
Halo costs $10 million an episode.
Okay, and that's a big world.
Game of Thrones, the most expensive series of all time at the time. The final season, the most expensive season of television of all time. They had to digitally remove all those Starbucks cups. Was $15 million an episode. Mandalorian, a Star Wars, $15 million an episode.
Whoo!
Marvel shows, $25 an episode.
Why should Stranger Things need to cost more? Now, I do understand that this is their highest CGI season. They've been getting more and more into exploring the supernatural parts of it. But like,
that's expensive.
That's too much.
That's actually a lot of money.
That's too much
just
money.
Just a reminder, we will go through a roll call of everybody that's been subscribing, donating. We love you very much. We're going to go through a whole thing at the end. It's pretty wild. It's not quite as expensive as Lord of the Rings, but I would the Lord of the Rings series that Amazon's working on, but I would expect Lord of the Rings to be more expensive.
Yeah, it's Lord of the Rings. How much more expensive is it? I don't remember how much that was.
It has a total budget of $465 million, but I don't know across how many episodes. I think they're just comparing season to season. I just think it's fascinating. So Netflix is saying, like, look, obviously we have to. This is what's led to Netflix having this identity that we've talked about, which is like, yeah, for every Stranger Things, there are 18 dating shows that they make for 75 cents an episode that are kind of devaluing the platform, right? Because they put a lot of stuff on this platform where it's like, well, I watch some of the dating shows. I'm not going to lie to you. But for every one of these prestige shows that they put out, they have to put out like 10 shows at like shoestring budget that aren't going to really click with people as much. And so you get this perception that Netflix now has where it's like, there's nothing to watch on Netflix.
Yeah, they're putting everything into one thing that you only took a couple days to watch.
They're saying under the radar, relatively low cost hits are necessary to balance out the cost for big ticket programming such as Stranger Things, which has a $30 million per episode.
Too much per episode.
That's too much per episode.
Simply too much.
Who do you think? Who do you think's highest paid on Stranger Things? Is it David Harbour?
It might be David Harbour.
I think it's probably David Harbour. I think in the first season it was probably Winona Ryder.
Interesting. I could see that. It was probably Winona in season 1, but I would say now it probably goes David Harbour, Millie Bobby Brown. That's my guess.
I think I think the youths. I think Millie Bobby Brown and your Finn Wolfhard are probably worth a lot of money.
I mean, that whole show is sitting on their shoulders, so that would make sense.
But it's pretty. I mean, that's the thing is
people think Millie's first.
It could be. It's a huge cast. They're only getting more and more famous. This is something that happens with all television series. Everybody goes up. The director's salary goes up. Everybody's salaries go up. But honestly, I don't think that's where the majority of the money is going every episode. I simply don't believe it. I wonder what these production costs are and these CGI costs are and all of these other things. I look at Stranger Things and it's a really great show, but I don't think it's as beautiful a show as any of like the Mike Flanagan stuff, like your House on Haunted Hill or your or Haunting of Hill House, whatever they called that version.
Haunting of Hill House.
Haunting of Hill House. Or Midnight Mass, like all of those shows are, I think, look more beautiful
and significantly lower in budget.
And so much lower in budget. So I think it's just one of those things where it's like super, super popular, and so there's not a lot of oversight, right? They're the hits, so they're just spending money. And I want everybody to get paid what they're getting paid on that show, but that's a ridiculous amount of money. They need to tighten those belts somewhere.
The entire budget for Midnight Mass was $5 million.
Midnight Mass was $5 million. That's unbelievable.
Haunting of Hill House was $4 million per episode.
How? How is an episode of Haunting of Hill House $4 million and an episode of Stranger Things? Here's what I will say. We haven't seen Stranger Things season 4. We haven't seen it. Maybe it's the most goddamn amazing looking show we've ever seen. At least one of, right?
Sure.
Every show looks like an insanely expensive, unbelievable movie.
Sure.
We don't know, but I will say that's an expensive ass TV show.
That is an
they don't even have
expensive
dragons.
ass TV show. And they're not even making dragons.
They ain't got
Maybe
one.
this season will have dragons.
They ain't got one single dragon.
Speaking of high budget productions, that's my segue. Let's talk about Doctor Strange Multiverses of Madness.
Baby,
Does everybody
we're just a couple weeks away.
Does everybody have their ticket for Multiverse of Madness?
Does everybody have your ticket to America Chavez, the movie?
Do you?
Do you?
Do you have your tickets to America Chavez, starring in Multiverse of Madness. Now, this is not a surprising piece of news. We've seen this headline go around a lot in the last 2 years of content from Marvel and various other companies, but Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness has officially been banned in Saudi Arabia due to America Chavez being canonically queer.
Yep.
Oh, thanks so much.
Thank you. Yeah, this is a bummer, but it is the way it is. The Eternals, of course, was banned in multiple countries in the region, including like Qatar. I want to say like Saudi Arabia. I want to say like Jordan, like a lot of those countries. And of course, you know, China is very on the fence with stuff like this. You never know how China is going to react.
Yep.
The Eternals almost didn't get released in China, if I remember correctly, and then wound up getting released. I think they had to cut something for China. So this is a bummer. This is a bummer. But what I will say, and what I do like, is that Marvel keeps putting these characters in.
Yes.
Whereas other studios are like, well, let's just not do it, or let's allude to it, because if we just allude to it, that's fine, and we can release in China, you know, and then they wind up queer baiting.
I mean, that's the thing. So here's where we land on that. I think a lot of the time in American movies, a gay character is uncertain of how that will perform or whether or not it will be pulled in China. And China is a massive, massive fucking market. So consistently, American filmmakers are much more afraid of a film being pulled in China and much more likely to move around something that will get the film pulled in China than something that will get it pulled in Saudi Arabia. So with a gay character, which they've already kind of like, they've dipped toes in the water with, they've been like, it's in Eternals, which is not one of our necessarily like front facing films. It's one of the kind of off stories. It's one of them that we're putting a little less into. It's still a big step. It's a big deal. America Chavez, we knew when they announced the character, is canonically gay in the comics as well. But I think they're much more afraid of a film getting pulled in China.
It's interesting. These rules, it's fascinating when you talk to people who work in these industries, whether it's games, whether it's TV, and how these rules work. 2 women is a soft yes, as long as those women show their love more platonically, and it can be passed off as the good friends meme. That's allowed. Good friends, peck on the cheek, hand holding, that sort of stuff. That is okay in those countries. 2 men, like you had in the Eternals, no, absolutely not. You have to hide it or you have to cut it in some way. Which, of course, is a sexist double standard in addition to their horrible intolerance. But it's interesting when you watch movies, keep that in mind as you're watching the movie and see what market they're trying to stay in. See where they're releasing and then look at what they did to the content. And you'll start to see how these rules work, and it is transparently gross.
History will say they were roommates. I'm looking forward to this movie so fucking much. I am so excited for Multiverse of Madness. I can't even begin to tell you. It's the most excited I've been for a Marvel film in a pretty long time.
I'm so hyped, man. There's everything about it. Everything about it. I mean, number one, I love that we're deep diving into the magic part of the unit, because that's where things get wild. I love that Marvel somehow pulled off the multiverse in a way that people understand, people love, people can follow. Like, my mom went to the movie and was just like, yeah, there's a multiverse. I'm like, how did they do this? How did they get this to the point where it's understood by everybody? And they're just, not only they're following 100 different heroes, they're cool with 100 different heroes in 100 different worlds, having 100 different, I love it.
Yes.
America Chavez is there. I love that we're starting to get into this newer generation of Marvel heroes. I mean, America's only like 10 years old in the has only been in the comics for like 10 years, something like that, maybe less. And also, Sam Raimi coming home, baby. Sam Raimi doing what he does best. Superhero horror. Man, rewatch Spider-Man 2. Rewatch Spider-Man 2 and look at how much of a Sam Raimi horror movie he was making. And you are just going to... I am so excited for Multiverse of Madness.
America Chavez was introduced in 2011.
2011. happy 11th birthday, America Chavez. Yeah, it's all very exciting.
I can't fucking wait for this movie.
While we're talking about Marvel movies coming out,
yeah,
Madam Web.
Madam Web is something we talked about a good while ago now, because there hasn't been any news about it in between, but we know it's starring Dakota Johnson. It has been given a release date.
It has a release date of July 7th, 2023, which means it's coming out a month after Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, which is the sequel to the animated hit.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to remind us of what the Spider-Verse is, and then they're going to bring in Madam Web. Now, this is fascinating to me, because that means Madam Web is coming out before Kraven. Madam Web is coming out before any of the other planned Spider-Man character movies, which means Madam Web is going to be the movie that introduces all of these characters and universes. I'm trying to figure out how Sony is handling this Sony Spider-Man cinematic universe and what their plan is, and I can't see it.
Interesting.
I can't see their plan.
I can't quite see their plan either, but also it's Sony Marvel, so I'm not surprised. But here's what I glean from this information. Given that it is just 1 month after the new Spider-Verse, I think that shows the littlest correlation to Spider-Verse.
No, I think
we know that obviously a live action is going to be separate. Spider-Verse, its own universe, exactly.
I think it's just a reminder that, hey, there are multiple universes with multiple Spider-Men out there.
Yeah.
Right? It puts that into an audience's head.
Sure. Yeah. I think it is going to be as far from the Miles Morales, that Spider-Man universe as like possible, given that they've put them that close together.
Yeah.
I think that they are going to have not be connected, but have like nothing in common. You know what I mean?
Somebody asked how Morbius has been doing, and I haven't looked. Morbius has made about $100 million. It costs $75 million.
That's domestic and global.
Yeah, that's domestic and yeah. Morbius ain't doing great.
Unsurprising. Somebody also asked what the post-credit scene was. Nobody made it to the post-credit scene in Morbius. I don't know.
I don't think, was there one? Oh yeah, but it wasn't anything. I famously got kicked out of Morbius for laughing, so I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. Don't put it in the chat, live studio audience. Don't share that. So yeah, does Sony have a plan? Sony always seems like they have a plan, but they're constantly like, they always have a plan, but they're always ready to just drop that plan for an entirely new plan at any moment. You know?
Yeah.
So who knows what they're doing with all these Spider-Man characters. Part of me, like I said before, part of me wants it to end with another Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movie. But part of me also doesn't want it to end with another Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movie, because I think he deserves better. I don't want to see Andrew Garfield in Morbius. I simply don't.
Oh.
Andrew Garfield versus Morbius? No.
Not at all.
No, Andrew Garfield is too sweet and too good for that.
I just don't want to see Jared Leto in anything.
No, certainly not. Although I would like to see Tom Hardy and Andrew Garfield having a lot of fun in a movie. Although I don't want to see Tom Hardy very much.
Yeah,
anymore.
right?
I don't know, man.
Things are tough.
Things are tough everywhere. Method acting is not real, and it's bad.
Not acting.
Let's talk about some big news that is going to affect all of our lives in a very good way. This is some news about the internet and your digital rights. So, of course, it is not coming out of America. It's coming out of the EU. The EU has been working towards legislation for a long time that's trying to clean up the fucking inhumane cesspool that the internet is.
Yep.
And they're doing all right. The latest one is the Digital Services Act, which is going to require companies like Google and Meta and anybody huge like this to explain their algorithms and how their algorithms are directing people's attention, how they are directing recommended content. And they don't just have to explain it to the government. They have to explain it upfront and be transparent on their platforms with their users.
So what that means for you is that these social media sites, in theory, would have to explain what kind of your data they are mining to target you with content. If you've ever been on TikTok and been like, holy shit, I was just talking about this. That's wild. Somebody recommended a video to me and it was just in my feed somehow. What kind of information do they have about you to do that? Well, in theory, this would make them have to tell you.
So this is going to remove targeted advertising based on an individual's religion, sexual orientation, or ethnicity. They are no longer allowed to use that demographic information to advertise to you, which is huge and is a huge socio-political problem right now.
Yes, it is.
The fact that I log on and I'm a white man. Cool. Okay, white man, we're going to show you these videos and these ads from these companies. And then if a black woman logs on, they show her completely different things.
Correct.
And that doesn't just, and advertising isn't just for products, it's for news, it's for content, which means we are being shown two very different looks at the world, which is not okay.
You may not think that a lot of advertising influences your opinions, but it does to some extent.
It does, because you don't see anything else.
Correct. And this also will affect the way that people advertise in political campaigns as well. If you remember on YouTube, everybody who was, I mean, I'm about as publicly left as it gets. I'm off the edge of the map there that it includes. And every ad I got was some Republican trying to fucking advertise something to me on YouTube during the last election cycle.
Oh, yeah.
They were specifically like, young and gay, have a Republican.
One of the biggest things in this is minors cannot be subject to targeted advertising at all. At all. This is huge, and it is such a big deal. We talk about these funnels and these pipelines that kids go down that move them towards any sort of political beliefs or religious beliefs or anything like that. This will remove that. It's also going to make dark patterns illegal. Dark patterns are those things on sites that keep you from clicking the thing that you want to click. I'm just trying to get rid of my subscription. I'm just trying to close this. How come when I close it, it opens up 3 more things? No. Canceling subscriptions, the EU says, has to be as easy as signing up for them. They will be monitoring this stuff. If it takes a longer amount of time or is more complicated to cancel than it is to sign up, it's not allowed to happen. Large platforms like Facebook are going to have to make the workings of their recommendation algorithms transparent to users, and users should also be offered a recommender not based on not based on profiling. This is why Instagram recently brought back the chronological feed. Instagram did that to comply with potential future laws. If you notice, the first feed that they show you is now even more targeted and algorithmic.
Yeah, it's not even things that you follow typically. They're just like, we think you might like this.
Yeah, so now you can have that chronological people I follow feed, but they're not going to show it to you first.
You can also make a list of the people that are most important to you. You can essentially make like a close friends list, but for viewing and not just for who can view your stuff. Very interesting.
Hosting services and platforms will have to explain why they have removed illegal content, as well as give users the ability to meaningfully appeal these takedowns. This is huge. This is the things like, I made a video that was criticizing a large company about their movies, their decisions, their whatever. And it was taken down based on a copyright strike. And it's like, no, now that company has to explain why. And you have to have more than just a button that says, please review this content. Which is a huge issue for people on YouTube. A video gets marked or taken down or flagged, and they hit please review this. Where does that go? Who cares? Nobody, like, it goes to somebody at YouTube that goes, no.
Right.
Also, online marketplaces have to keep basic information about traders on their platform to track down individuals selling illegal goods or services. I think this is huge. This is one of those things where, you know, we talk about how eBay hides behind these things. Etsy hides behind these things. A lot of, everywhere that makes merch hides behind these things. well, we didn't know somebody was doing illegal stuff with our platform. That's not really what we're about. No, fuck you. If somebody's doing illegal stuff on your platform, if they're making hateful content, if they're making hateful products, if they're making hateful, like whatever, if they're stealing from another artist, that's on you. You have to keep records of these people. They have to be able to be taken down.
Yep.
And the biggest one is you will, all large platforms, this is platforms with at least 45 million users when they say large platforms, will have to introduce new strategies for dealing with misinformation during crises. This is a new provision that was added during the invasion of Ukraine because, of course, Russian disinformation and misinformation started spreading almost instantaneously. And Zucky was like, oh, we tried. We're trying to get rid of it.
I don't know what to
We
do.
tried. Now, people are asking, okay, well, this is cool for the EU, but what about us? No. This is what's great. This stuff ripples outwards. Even though these specifically don't have to follow these laws in this country, it's sort of like the cookie acceptance laws now, because California said, no, you have to let us know when you're tracking our people.
Yep.
Major sites just now made it so like it's easier to just make it so everyone gets those same controls.
It is. And look, Meta is a terrifyingly evil company and place. What I will say is they are the one company that I'm like, they might be willing to do the harder work to keep tracking information, but here's the things that will still be available. The information about their algorithms will still be public. They could change the way that they operate in the United States, but damn, that would be a big fucking change. So if that information has to be released in the, throughout
they're not gonna,
EU,
they're not going to
that
do
information will be available.
I mean, they're not going to do two different versions of everything.
Right.
And then companies are not going to be able to deal with two different versions of everything. These sorts of laws make it so the internet is better for everyone, because it is simply too complicated to do it all these different ways. Although we have seen certain simple things like filtering. We talk about this a lot with Twitter. Twitter has hate speech filters that they use in Germany that they don't use anywhere else. Fucking turn those on for everybody, Twitter. Come on. But this is a huge deal. This is sort of like how the EU is saying that all phones have to use USB-C. All phones have to use standardized chargers. And that probably means that every iPhone is going to be USB-C here in the States. Yeah. Starting in a couple years. Because why would Apple try to do two different fucking... Why? It would just be too
I would love
expensive.
for everything to be USB-C. That's great. iPads are already there. iPads used to match our phones, and now the iPads match our computers instead. It's been annoying.
Now, this is the Digital Services Act. This is the second part of a very large thing, which was there was one called this is the DSA. There was also the DMA, which is the Digital Markets Act. The DMA is about level playing fields for businesses and content creators on the internet. So that means that, like, Google can't pay for Google sites to go faster on an ISP, and smaller sites can't be pushed down into a less important tier of speed or access by platform providers. So all of this is working to make the internet what it was supposed to be in the beginning, which was like a chill place for people to make things and share stuff.
An open and fair internet.
So that's big news, and I'm very happy about it.
In continued social media news, there's a story surrounding Instagram that if you're an online content creator, this probably isn't actually huge news to you. But Instagram is releasing this more in a public-facing way now. Instagram is going to be prioritizing original content. If you've ever been on your Explore page, which I can't recommend, if you've ever gone on the Explore page on your Instagram, you've probably seen that the majority of the video content there, which they do prioritize over photo content, is usually reposts of TikToks. Usually with the little watermark from TikTok in the corner that kind of bounces around, like when you save a TikTok from the platform. Because it's the easiest thing. Content creators don't want to make individual content for multiple platforms. They have a lot of people that haven't downloaded TikTok, don't have TikTok in their region, etc. So they repost it to Instagram for the potential of virality there.
And of course, there are a lot of accounts on Instagram that are incredibly popular that are simply content farms that are taking other people's TikToks and reposting those.
Very, very true. So Instagram is now publicly saying that they are going to be downranking reposts of TikToks to Instagram. Okay, So that is something that I will say, like between content creators, we've been aware of for a while now. It's a conversation kind of behind the scenes that people have where it's like, hey, if there's a TikTok watermark on your real video, most likely it is going to get suppressed in some capacity.
People aren't going to show it.
The ability to identify that on Instagram.
People see that. People have been seeing that happening. It's like, oh, I posted this here first, and Instagram knows.
Exactly. So Instagram has been trying to add a couple of features with the idea of making it a content platform again, where people make original content for it as opposed to just funneling their content over. Product tags is going to be open and improved, so you can tag all of the things that you're wearing. This is big for influencers that aren't necessarily doing like a sponsored product. A lot of the time you just tag the brand on your shirt, and the only people who have actual product tags is the brand itself. They can tag, that's this shirt and you can buy it here. But now, in theory, influencers would be able to be like, hi, if you like my shirt, this is where to get it, click through. This is a big opportunity for partnerships. Brands to be like, hey, if you put our partner tag, then like you could make shmoney. Enhanced tags for people as well. So like, let's say that you have somebody tagged in a photo and they have a profession listed where it's like, streamer, right? Yeah. You could tag someone and instead of it just popping up with their name, it will also say their little professional tag.
Yeah, which is nice because then you can, theoretically, you can be like, well, I want to follow, this is crazy. But imagine, who would have imagined that years ago you would log into your Instagram account and tell them, hey, I'd like to just follow photographers. Can I see photographers on Instagram? And now you can. It's wild that we've gotten there.
And the last thing they describe is ranking for originality, which is that thing we were talking about with the watermarking, but phrasing it that way is so funny and suspicious.
Yeah, they're trying to say, one of their heads of content, Adam Mosseri, is saying, if you create something from scratch, you should get more credit than if you are resharing something that you found from someone else. So they're trying to couch this as combating what I was talking about, which is these accounts that are just farms for other people's, the e-bombs worlds of fucking Instagram. Yeah. You know, re-watermark it, put it on our own thing. The people who made millions on Instagram, like Fat Jew. Yeah. Just reposting other people's content, you know, these meme accounts. And this is a way to phrase it so it sounds good, right? If you're one of these accounts, we should not be ranking you as high as we rank other accounts. That's the PR side of it. Right. That's the PR side of it.
Really is we make more money when you make things natively for our platform. We will make more in advertising. So we are going to need you to make things here, and we're trying to find a way to incentivize you. A while ago, they were reaching out to creators.
And by incentivize, we mean de-incentivize you. By incentivize, we mean punish.
Right. A while ago, they were reaching out to creators and offering like a very low, essentially, AdSense for posting real content and video content directly to the platform.
Oh, they were like, hey, Anthony, if you post a bunch of reels and you get 90 bazillion views, we'll give you $1,000. And I was like, number one, I'm not going to get 90 bazillion views. And number two, that's like less than, that's thousandths of a penny. Yeah. I don't care about your reels. No. I care, TikTok's better.
I will say, there was somebody in the chat, I'm not going to call you out by name, and it scrolled on by, but it was like, I refuse to download TikTok.
That's fine.
That's totally fine.
That's fine.
But if you are like, morally, I am opposed to TikTok, but I am on Instagram, which is owned by Meta, Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg.
You ain't backing a better horse.
Reassess your morality ties and wonder what part of it is fear-mongering of a Chinese company and what part of it is actually afraid of people mining your data. Right. Because Facebook is not doing better for you.
Remember that, like, all of this Chinese company mining your data, doing that stuff, a lot of that was a counter information campaign by Meta. Meta paid to spread that about TikTok. Meta paid, Facebook and their internal PR team made an entire attack on TikTok that was over a year long. That was simply like, TikTok is dangerous. TikTok is monitoring kids through their cameras. TikTok is a Chinese company. We don't know what they're doing with our data. All of this stuff, while at the same time being the most insidious and disgusting miners of data and monitors of our entire lives in the world.
That we're actively spreading intentional disinformation about political campaigns.
Now, if you just don't like social media and you don't want it on your phone,
Vibe. Absolutely. 100%.
Absolute vibes.
1000%. Absolutely. But there's so many people who are like, oh no, I don't use TikTok. Like, TikTok is the evil one. And it's like, well, okay. Facebook's right there.
Facebook is literally
Please,
right there.
Don't say that in front of Facebook. They've been holding the evilest title for a long time.
They'll be so sad, and he'll turn on the giant laser at us.
Right.
In other mobile news, Apple has said that it is going to start removing games from the App Store that haven't been updated in over 2 years.
This was very, very saddening for a lot of mobile developers. Particularly, here is a tweet from Proto Pop Games. Proto Pop Games said, I feel sick. Apple just sent me an email saying that they're removing my free game, Motivito, because it's more than 2 years old. It's part of their app improvement system. This is not cool. Console games from 2000 are still available for sale. This is an unfair barrier for indie devs. And I do absolutely agree with that.
I agree with that. I will say that the flip side of this coin is if you have ever had an app that you love or a game that you love that you haven't played in a while and you go to download it and it doesn't work anymore, which happens quite a lot. I think from Apple's perspective, the OS is updating so quickly these days. What they're really looking for is simply, hey, are you checking in on this product? Are you checking in on this product? Are you making sure that it is compatible with iOS 15? Because a lot of games, particularly games that were iOS 11, iOS 12, they simply don't work anymore. They're just broken.
I just think that they simply need a more intelligent algorithm then to identify the games that are broken and not working, as opposed to just the games that are not receiving updates.
You're right.
Because there are absolutely games that run on those that do still run on the current iOS. That's not a blanket thing that applies. Not all games that were made for iOS 11 do not run on 15.
Yeah.
So it is up to Apple, and Apple certainly has the access and the ability and the money to make something that's more intelligent that can identify things that are not working.
They're offloading this to devs, and that's not the most delicate way to do it. And I don't think this is necessarily the best way to do it, but I do see why they're doing it. But I also see all of these devs that are like, yo, this is not okay for reasons, and are showing these reasons. Apple removed a version of my Flick-type keyboard that catered specifically to the visually impaired community because I hadn't updated in 2 years. Meanwhile, games like Pocket God have not been updated by the developers for 7 years now, which means there's an algorithmic part of this that is already integrated, which is not deleting things that are making money.
Exactly it. Is this game still being consistently downloaded and making us money? Are you charging for this game? Therefore, we are getting a cut of it. Or are you potentially paying for advertising for it still within the App Store?
This is not the way to do what you're trying to do, Apple, if you are trying to do what you say. I do enjoy the idea of creating a system that makes sure that things that no longer work or will not work on your phone, Android actually has this in the Google Play Store. It's like, hey, this isn't going to work with your phone. It's rated from this version to this version.
Yep.
You can't download this.
Right.
And I think that's the more intelligent way to do it. I think Google's got the one up on Apple, probably because their motivations aren't quite as insidious in this case. Yeah. Where it's like, hey, your app, when you uploaded it said it would work up to this version. If it works with the newer version, you got to upload a new version that says that.
Right. So in the message, the takedown notice that they received, they said if no update is submitted within 30 days, the app will be removed. Even if, again, the app is still compatible and still works, there are absolutely costs involved from the dev to update their existing app. That is correct. And they're putting that burden on the shoulders of these independent developers. Of course, there's costs involved, whether it's paying the developers that you used on it under your company to go in and work on it, or whatever that may be. The costs are going to vary from developer to developer. Maybe you haven't had an Apple developer license in a little while, and you've got to pay for that again and re-download the tools. Or maybe you don't see the email within 30 days. Maybe, yeah. If you're not currently updating this game, this is a game that you made, it was completed. Like, for instance, this Flick keyboard that they were talking about that was specifically aimed at people with visual impairments, then what if they just didn't check their email? What if that email associated with it, they didn't get it, and then their app is gone forever?
Now, according to Apple, that would mean like, hey, that means you're probably not an active developer anymore, and that means you probably don't care about this product that much if you're not checking the email for it anymore.
Disagree.
I mean, I disagree too, but this is probably what Apple's going to say about it. Skywalker says 30 days is too little time for a lot of devs. That's true.
Right.
And Apple's going to say, well, you technically had 2 years and 30 days.
But they didn't know.
Didn't know.
There was no notice. There was nothing when they signed up or uploaded their game that said so. And a lot of games are simply completed.
Yeah. And I mean, look, is there, like I said, should there be a smart system that checks to see, hey, this is verified, or they could even run it on their end. God knows Apple has the iOS simulator on their end. Every time there's an iOS update, run the apps against it. Does it crash?
Right, then send the notice.
If it crashes, send a notice. If it runs, but it kicks back a certain number of errors, cool, send a notice. Yep. There are ways to do this.
Anthony, there's one more thing in here. And in here it just says, Saige, don't look.
I love a Saige, don't look.
He does love to put in a Saige, don't look.
We love AI. We love the idea of virtual characters. There's something very interesting that Sam over at Corridor Digital is working on. They have not made a full Corridor Digital video of it yet, but they have put this online. This is Xierra Vega, and she is an AI influencer created by Corridor Digital.
Okay.
But I'm going to show you. It's
oh God. Okay, hold on. Oh, there we go. Phew.
But I'm going to show you. Corridor is doing something a little weird with it. This is not like the virtual influencers that we've seen.
Okay.
Like your little Michaelas or things like this. This is Xierra. I'll show you. Or will I?
No, you will not.
Yes, I will. There's a way around that.
Craziest idea today. I was thinking, what I had a pet unicorn. Wouldn't that be so funny? It would be like a little horse with a horn. Wouldn't that be hilarious? All I wanna do is just sing.
Muting it for the music.
Yeah.
So it's gonna come through the mic, yeah.
So all of her text, everything she says comes from GPT-3.
Okay.
They trained GPT-3 on a ton of influencer videos. And then they put the script through a speech synthesizer, run it into Unreal Engine, and create Sierra's videos.
We made an AI watch 1,000 hours of influencer videos, and this is what it came up with.
And some of them get really weird. Here she is explaining herself.
Hey, it's Xierra. You might be wondering how I can keep churning out long-winded stories about my everyday adventures. Well, I have a little secret. I'm actually an AI. More specifically, I use a machine learning algorithm called GPT-3 to generate my posts. It allows me to tap into a vast database of human knowledge and experiences. So, in a way, I'm actually a collaboration between me and all of the people who have ever used GPT-3.
Every time the camera angle changes in Unreal, it respawns her.
GPT-3 creates my script.
Doing
my
TikTok
creator
transition.
uses Unreal Engine to create a dynamic world for
but it respawns her hair.
Put me in all of the different locations I could visit, the different moods I could be in, and even sets up the camera angles for me. It really bring my posts to life and make them more engaging for my viewers. Thanks, Sam.
Oh my God.
Since I'm an AI, I'm capable of reacting to everything. That includes the comments you leave on my posts. I love hearing from you guys, and I always try to respond to as many comments as I can. I also love exploring mysteries, like the mysterious door in the basement. I'm not sure what's behind it, but I'm determined to find out. Thanks for joining.
Incredible.
How wild is that? So you heard her talk about the door in the basement?
Uh-huh.
I'd like to show you the door in the basement.
I would love to see the door in the basement, Anthony.
Because she was trained on GPT-3, weird things start coming through.
Uh-huh.
And so she started talking about the door in the basement. And so clearly they were like, well, now we have to make a video
of a door in
the door in a basement and let her talk about it because that's what she wants to talk about.
Right. Which
So-
is funny because that's been like a huge TikTok trend of people being like, I found this weird thing behind my mirror.
Oh,
I found this thing. I just moved into a house and it had this.
It's that old YouTube thing of like, we found a safe or we found something locked or we found, so here she is talking about the door in the basement.
Oh my God. Oh, the safe.
I'm back in the basement, and I'm still wondering about that door with the strange eye symbols on it. I'm not sure what it means, but I'm starting to get a bad feeling about it. I don't think I should go near it, but I can't help but be curious.
Just
What
the
do you
fact
think
that
it
they're
means?
not fixing the hair with the spawning.
Stop it, kids!
I'm terrified of what's going on in the basement. And now, obviously, the idea that Xierra ends every video with a TikTok dance is a joke that Sam put in.
That's so fucking
But it's
funny.
so funny. It's so funny. Like, there's stuff where she talks about the nature of reality. Like, it's all things that you ask AI. Oh, come on. Fine, I'll log in.
You've watched one too many things. Instagram said, no, give me password now.
Instagram said,
You give me that password. I swear to fucking
Instagram
God,
said,
give me that
listen,
password.
we're not tracking you right now, and we need to be able to track you.
I can also watch it on mine. I'm logged in.
Oh, okay, good.
Oh, we won't get audio.
We won't get audio though. Let me log in because it's just too good.
This is the greatest thing I think that's
I
ever
love
been created.
things like this.
This is so funny.
Okay. Yeah, not now, Instagram. Not now. Just show me the very good video.
People were like,
Thank you.
the dead body in the background? Yeah, there was definitively a dead body in the background of the last video.
I mean, it's up to intimidation. It's up to intimidation. You didn't see no dead body.
Yeah, we love AI generated content.
Where's the audio? Oh my God, because I logged in, it redid everything. I hate Instagram.
It's the button down there.
I know, but it wasn't letting me click it, so I had to reload. Please let me click it.
AI. We're both just trying to make sense of the world and our place in it. And I wonder if someday AI will be able to understand us better than we understand ourselves.
There's a button for it.
About it. We're really not that different from AI.
I just
That's
fucking
so
love
funny.
it. It's Xierra_Vega. Clearly, they're working towards making a Corridor Digital video about it, and I'm looking forward to seeing the process behind it. I just think it's so fascinating, just the weird tools that we can hook up and make do things now.
I'm going to watch all of this. It's incredible. And that is where we will end today's show. Thank you so much for starting your morning with us. We appreciate it so much. If it's your first time here, we typically do this show every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at exactly 8 a.m. Pacific. And if it is anything after 8 a.m., that is your clock that's incorrect, not us. Except
we
for this
say when it's 8 a.m.
There will be no Wednesday show this week because I am taking a little break.
Because there will be no 8 a.m. on Wednesday.
There will be no 8 a.m.
If you
on Wednesday.
look at your clocks on Wednesday, you will notice they skip from 7:59 to 8:01. There's no 8 a.m. and we cannot start the show. We're sticklers for
couldn't do it.
punctuation.
We absolutely are, but do come back and join us on Friday.
Punctuation or punctuality? What is with my words today?
We love an exclamation point.
I am intimidate.
Do come and join us on Friday. Additionally, I hope that you will come by tomorrow at 6 p.m. Pacific for the Boris Saga Bane's break. You can see me over there playing some Dungeons and Dragons. And if you haven't gone back and watched the VOD of the Failed Save season finale, that went up on Friday.
So many cries.
So many feelings.
So many feelings.
Cluelic had some big feelings. We dealt with some big feelings for Cluelic.
Everybody had big feelings.
Everybody had big feelings in the finale. We all had personal big feelings in the finale, too. It's tough to take a break.
There's a lot happening in all of our lives.
It's up on YouTube and on the VODs here, which are available to everybody. They're not even sub-gated. So do keep that in mind if you want to go back and catch any of our shows after they have been live. Subscribe to us on
Subgate?
YouTube.
I hardly know Gate.
Subscribe to us on YouTube, too. It's literally free. Anthony?
Please subscribe to us on
Intimidate.
YouTube. Please subscribe to us on YouTube.
You take the please out.
Oh. We would love it if you subscribe to us on YouTube. Thank you.
Close enough. It's completely free and it helps us out a lot. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Anthony, when you're not here, where the hell are you?
I am wherever there is laughter on the breeze, wherever there is sunshine and freedom, but also everywhere on the internet at Carboni. Except for here on Twitch, where I'm at Anthony Carboni. Twitch, you cowards, it's mine, give it back to me. I've had the Steam Deck for over a week now, and today at 5 p.m., I'm going live with my Steam Deck report card. I've really put this thing through its paces. It is a wild machine, Saige.
All right.
I love and hate this thing in equal measure. I'm going to be talking about it. And also, of course, my science comedy podcast with Jeff Kanata. It's called We Have Concerns. Follow that at wehaveconcerns.com. Saige, fuck is you about?
You can find me everywhere on the internet at Not Saige. I'm starting a new schedule next week after this little break on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays. There will be a weekend day in my schedule for streaming. You can find me here on this channel all the damn time and a bunch of other places. But let's go through and let's thank everybody who supported us during the show today, because we are so appreciative that y'all show up and make this channel literally possible. We are an entirely independent network that runs off of subs and donations to keep this going, and people being kind enough to also volunteer their time.
Yeah, we have smashed our monthly goal.
Thank you very much.
And we appreciate you continuing to donate, even though we've smashed that goal, because
that's how we eat.
Because that's how we eat. That money goes directly to me and Saige. And your donations and your Patreon memberships and things like that, or your subscriptions and your Patreon memberships go to Pixel Circus as a network. So
that's how we do things, like pay for Photoshop.
Everything helps. Thank you, Little Brassy Atlas, for resubbing for 12 months. What a streak. Thank you for the anonymous gift sub to Cognoggin. 54 Aquasnakes, thank you for the tips, making it that nice number. Ronan and Monkey says, cuz again, how dare.
With an 11-11. It was also, everybody was playing with good numbers today.
I love to see people playing with good numbers. Major Grunge with the resub for 2 months. Andrew Garfield really does deserve better. Thank you. Yes. BL4 Met with the resub for 11 months, and that's a Prime sub. Thank you for taking a little bit of money out of Jeff Bezos' pockets. Mr. Bulldop666 with the resub for 8 months. That's a long time. We think you might like us. And of course, Ronan the Monkey with the 5432 tip. Thank you very much for that generosity. Chillis317 with the resub for 3 months. That's a 3-month streak. You're on a roll, baby, and thank you for it. Mr. Grover02 with the resub. Scott Davis 136 with 16 months. Thank you so much, Jeremy.
We are caught up.
We're caught up. Thank you, everybody, for all of your generosity. And not just in donations, but in just coming and watching and hanging out and being lovely people, and going to the Discord, sharing episodes, sharing clips.
Everybody who suggests stories.
All that stuff is super, super helpful. We are a few people in a shed, and the shed shakes every time we walk in it.
Mm-hmm.
So that should tell you where we're at.
It sure should.
And so every way that you help us out, particularly with this word of mouth, we've noticed a lot of new BBs, a lot of new Pickle Pals coming in, and we appreciate that so much. I think we're saying the same thing. Pickle Pals.
Anyways.
So welcome, and thank you for spreading the word to all these new BBs and welcoming more wonderful people into this wonderful community.
We love you very much. Take care of yourselves, and we will see you on Friday.
Bye BBs.